Your gut screams something's wrong. That little voice you keep trying to silence, it's roaring. You notice the phone angled away, the sudden passwords, the weirdly vague work emergencies that never happened before. You see the distance growing, feel the chill in the air where warmth used to be. Red flags everywhere. You tell yourself you're paranoid, you want to be wrong, but the doubt eats you alive. So, you crossed a line. Yeah, I know how it sounds. I installed spyware on my partner's phone. Please save the lectures, I've given myself plenty already. It felt like the only way to know for sure, to either confirm my worst fears, or finally find peace. The guilt was instant, heavy. Was I becoming the monster I suspected them of being? For days, nothing. Just normal, boring stuff. Maybe I was crazy. The relief started to creep in, and then it happened. A notification pinged on my screen, a message. Not flirty, not romantic, cold, calculating. Something way darker. My blood turned to ice. This wasn't just secret dates or stolen kisses. This was different, dangerous. I started digging deeper, my hands shaking, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. Each new piece of data, each hidden folder opened, revealed a layer I never imagined. The cheating almost felt like the cover story now. The lies weren't just about an affair. They were woven into something much bigger, something that threatened far more than just our relationship. The screen blurred. Names I didn't recognize, transactions, plans, evidence of a double life I couldn't have fathomed. Person I shared a bed with, built dreams with. Who were they? The betrayal cut deeper than infidelity ever could. This wasn't a broken heart. It felt like stepping off a cliff. And the final piece, the one that made my stomach drop through the floor, it involved someone close, someone I trusted completely. Oh God, this wasn't just about us anymore. This was a web, and I'd just stumbled right into the center of it. What do you do when the truth is so much worse than just cheating? When you realize the person you loved, the shock was so deep, it was physical, like getting the wind knocked out of me while standing perfectly still. I remember sitting there, frozen in the blue glow of my laptop screen, the only sound, the frantic hammering of my own heart against my ribs. This person, the one who made me coffee every morning, who held me when I was scared, who knew my deepest fears and stupidest dreams. Who were they? The messages weren't love notes, they were instructions, cold, precise, and the money trails. Unexplained deposits, transfers to accounts I'd never heard of, payments flagged with cryptic codes. It wasn't just an affair fund. This felt bigger, organized. Looking back, the signs were painted in neon, weren't they? I just chose to see the comforting glow of trust instead. Like that time, months ago, when Jamie, that's my partner, suddenly, we became best friends with Alex, my old college buddy. Alex was always around, helping Jamie with some vague project, crashing on our couch after late work sessions that didn't match Jamie's actual job. I thought it was sweet Jamie had bonded with someone from my past. Now, seeing Alex's name pop up repeatedly in those encrypted chats alongside dollar amounts and location pins, my blood ran cold. The betrayal wasn't just Jamie lying to me, it was using my trust, my friend, against me. Alex, the guy I'd loaned money to when he was broke, who stood by me at my dad's funeral. How deep was he in this? The spyware showed me a hidden calendar. Trips Jamie had told me were work conferences were marked with different city names and times. Short, frequent, unexplained absences. I remembered Jamie coming back from one, unusually tense, brushing off my questions about how it went. At the time, I chalked it up to travel stress. Now, a chilling thought hit me. Was I the stress? Was maintaining the lie, keeping up the facade of our normal life, the exhausting part? The casual intimacy we still shared, watching movies, sharing meals, felt like a sick performance. Every laugh, every touch. Was it calculated? Was everything just part of the cover? Then I found the photos. Not intimate ones, not like that. Surveillance photos, pictures of buildings I didn't recognize, license plates, street corners, and in one, shockingly clear despite the grainy quality, standing near a nondescript van, was Alex. His face was serious, focused, not the easygoing friend I knew. He was handing Jamie a small, unmarked package. The timestamp was from 2 weeks ago, during Jamie's dentist appointment. My hands trembled so badly I nearly dropped the laptop. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a secret life operating right under my nose, using the people I trusted. What were they moving? Who were they working for? And the most terrifying question of all, if they found out I knew, what would they do to protect their secret? The person sleeping next to me wasn't just unfaithful, they were potentially dangerous. And my oldest friend, he wasn't just complicit, he was part of the machine. The web wasn't just tangled, it felt like it was closing in. The paranoia became a constant companion, louder than my own thoughts. Every creak in the house, every glance from Jamie that lingered a second too long felt like a threat. Sleeping, impossible. I'd lie rigid, in the dark, listening to their steady breathing beside me, wondering what nightmares were playing out behind those closed eyelids. Were they dreaming of secret meetings, of packages exchanged in shadowy parking lots, The person I loved felt like a stranger wearing familiar skin, and the fear was a cold stone in my stomach. I started jumping at my own shadow, convinced every notification on my phone was Jamie discovering the spyware, or worse, Alex warning them. Pretending became my own exhausting double life. Smiling over burnt toast in the morning, asking about their day while my mind screamed questions about encrypted messages and surveillance photos. How was work? Felt like the biggest lie I'd ever told. I'd watch Jamie interact with Alex, who still dropped by casually, all easy smiles and familiar jokes, and it made me physically nauseous. The betrayal wasn't just Jamie's lies. It was the utter violation of our shared space, our shared friends. Alex would clap Jamie on the shoulder, laugh at some shared memory I wasn't part of, and I'd have to clamp down the urge to scream. Were they laughing at me? Was every friendly visit just another layer of the operation? The trust I had in both of them was ash in my mouth, driven by a fear that was starting to curdle into something sharper, a desperate need to understand the depth of the danger I was potentially in. I dug deeper. The spyware was a window, but the view was terrifyingly incomplete. I found references to a storage unit for B at Store All Secure. Payments for it came from a shell company name buried in the transaction logs. What was in there? Evidence. Stolen goods. Something. Worse, the uncertainty was suffocating. I needed to see it. But going there, that felt like stepping directly into the lion's den. If Jamie or Alex saw me, the thought made my hands shake so badly I could barely type. Then, a breakthrough, or maybe just a deeper plunge into the nightmare. Buried in a deleted folder, recovered by the software, was a scanned document. It wasn't a love letter or a bank statement. It was a partial shipping manifest, fragmented, but clear enough to see item descriptions that sounded chillingly technical. Industrial-grade sensors, signal jammers, components listed by model numbers that a frantic Google search suggested were highly regulated, bordering on illegal. My mind raced. Was this industrial espionage something tied to national security? The scale of it dwarfed my initial fears of infidelity. This wasn't just betrayal, it felt like treason. Who were they really working for? And what had I, in my quest to uncover an affair, accidentally stumbled into? The weight of it crushed me. I wasn't just heartbroken, I was potentially entangled in something criminal, something dangerous far beyond my comprehension. Every conversation with Jamie was an interrogation. I couldn't voice. Every interaction with Alex felt like facing an enemy. The domestic life we'd built was a meticulously crafted facade, and I was trapped inside it, holding this volatile secret, terrified of the explosion that would come when, not if, it was discovered. The storage unit loomed in my mind, a physical manifestation of the unknown horror. Should I go? Could I risk it? And if I found proof, then what? Who could I trust to believe me, especially when my own evidence was obtained by spying? The walls were closing in, the web tightening, and the person I'd shared my life with felt like the biggest threat of all. The fear wasn't just of losing love anymore. It was a primal fear for my safety, wondering what else Jamie and Alex were truly capable of. The calm before the storm had passed, and the air crackled with the tension of something terrible about to break. I needed to know what was in Unit 4B. I had to know. But walking towards it felt like walking off a cliff. The decision to go to Store All Secure haunted me every second. It felt like wearing a target. I waited for a day. Jamie was supposedly at an all-day team-building retreat. Another entry in their meticulously faked calendar. My hands wouldn't stop sweating on the steering wheel the whole drive. Every car behind me felt like a tale. Was Alex watching? Did Jamie have some kind of alert set up? The paranoia was a live wire under my skin. Pulling into the storage facility felt like entering enemy territory. Rows of identical and personal metal doors. Unit 4B, my keycard clone obtained through a terrifying, blurry moment of opportunity weeks ago, felt like it was burning a hole in my pocket. What if it didn't work? What if an alarm sounded? The lock clicked open with a terrifyingly loud thunk in the quiet afternoon. The metal door groaned as I heaved it upwards, heart hammering against my ribs like it wanted out. The smell hit me first: dust, concrete, and something sharp, like ozone. Dim light spilled in, illuminating, not stacks of cash or weapons, but something almost worse in its cold, impersonal menace. Neat rows of industrial-sized plastic crates, stacked floor to ceiling, heavy-duty locks secured each one. Labels were coded, meaningless strings of letters and numbers. It looked like a warehouse within a warehouse. This wasn't a stash of stolen TVs. This was organized. Professional. Driven by a terror that overrode all sense, I managed to pry open a latch on one crate that seemed less secure. Inside, nestled in custom foam, were sleek black devices. They looked like oversized hard drives but had complex antenna arrays and ports I didn't recognize. Remembering the manifest snippet, I snapped a frantic picture with my phone. The flash feeling obscenely loud in the cavernous space. Google Lens later would confirm my dread. Specialized signal interceptors, military grade, highly illegal. The confirmation was like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just cheating. This was Jamie and Alex playing a dangerous criminal game far above my head. Then, tucked almost carelessly behind a crate near the door. I saw it, a cheap, disposable burner phone, the kind you buy with cash. My blood ran cold. This was a direct line into their operation. A lifeline, or a death sentence. I pocketed it, my fingers numb. Was this a trap? Leaving any trace felt suicidal. I wiped my prints, closed the unit with trembling hands, and fled, convinced sirens would start wailing any second. Back home, the burner phone felt like radioactive lead in my jacket pocket. Jamie was home, humming in the kitchen, making dinner. The sheer terrifying normalcy of it was suffocating. Rough day, they asked, smiling that familiar smile that now felt like a mask carved from ice. You look pale. Every bite of food tasted like ash. Every casual touch sent jolts of revulsion through me. The signal interceptors, the burner phone. The evidence screamed espionage. But who was a target? Who were they working for? And crucially, horrifyingly, had I been a target all along? Was our entire relationship just covered? The thought was too monstrous to fully grasp. The burner phone vibrated later that night, just once. A single text notification lighting up the screen hidden under my pillow. My breath stopped. Jamie was asleep beside me, an arm thrown casually over my waist. The intimacy felt like a violation. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, I slid the burner out. The screen glowed in the dark, an unknown number. The message was short, terrifyingly direct. Package delayed. New drop point required. Confirm for B status. Clean. They were checking on the storage unit. Now panic seized me. Did they know someone had been there? Had I triggered something? The clean demand felt like a blade at my throat. If I didn't respond, would they assume it was compromised? Would they come here? But if I replied, what then? Pretend to be Jamie, pretend to be Alex. One wrong word, one slip in their coded language, and it was over. The weight of the secret, the sheer scale of the betrayal and the danger, pressed down on me in the dark. The person I loved was a stranger involved in something dark and vast. My oldest friend was their accomplice, and I was trapped in the middle, holding a burner phone that could either be my only way out, or my death warrant. The next move was mine, and every option felt like stepping onto a landmine. The silence of the room was deafening, broken only by Jamie's steady breathing and the frantic pounding of my own heart. My fingers hovered over the cheap plastic keys of the burner phone. Jamie's steady breathing beside me was a terrifying counterpoint to the frantic drumming of my heart. Clean. The word pulsed on the dim screen like a live wire. One wrong move, and the fragile facade of our life, of my safety, could shatter. Panic clawed at my throat. Play along. You have to play along. But as who? Jamie, Alex. My mind raced, grasping for any shred of their coded language I'd seen in the messages. Taking a shaky breath, mimicking the turnstile, I typed back. For be secure. Drop point. Hitting send felt like detonating a bomb. I shoved the phone deep, under the pillow, my skin crawling. Seconds stretched into agonizing minutes. The silence was worse than sirens. Then, a single vibration. Relief ward with fresh terror. Warehouse 7, Dock B midnight. Bring the primary. The primary, what did that mean? One of those sleek black interceptors from the crate, something else entirely. The location meant nothing to me. Midnight was closing in and I had to be there. Or did they expect Jamie? The impossibility of the situation pressed down, suffocating me. Sleep was unthinkable. As dawn bled through the curtains, Jamie stirred. You're up early, they murmured, their voice thick with sleep, their arm tightening around me. The casual intimacy was a knife twist. How could they lie here, touching me, while orchestrating whatever this was? Couldn't sleep, I managed, my voice surprisingly steady. Work stressed. The irony tasted like bile. Pretending normalcy that day was torture. Every interaction with Jamie felt loaded, dangerous. Were they watching me extra closely? Did they sense my fear? When Alex texted my real phone, hey, grabbing lunch near you, join me, it felt like a trap. A test I declined, citing a fake deadline, my hands trembling so badly I almost dropped my phone. Paranoia painted sinister meanings on everything. Was Alex checking my alibi? Confirming I wasn't snooping? Driven by a desperate need to understand the drop point, I took a reckless detour during my lunch break. Warehouse 7 was on the derelict South Dock's decaying buildings, chain-link fences sagging, the air thick with the smell of salt and rust. Dock B was barely more than a crumbling concrete slab jutting into oily water, isolated, perfect for something illicit. My phone camera felt like a pitiful weapon as I snapped pictures from the safety of my car, parked blocks away. The desolation screamed danger. Going there at midnight alone was suicide. Back home, the weight of the burner phone in my pocket was crushing. I needed to see who sent those messages. Not just the number, the person. Scrolling through its bare-bones interface, I found nothing. No contacts, no call logs besides the recent texts. Then, a reckless, terrifying idea struck me. The phone, used for their operation. Maybe it called other burners. Maybe it pinged off towers near the storage unit, near this warehouse, near Jamie and Alex's known locations. Could I trace its recent connections? It was a long shot, a dangerous gamble using basic online tools meant for lost phones. But I was out of options. Plugging the burner's number into a reverse lookup service felt like handing my own noose to the executioner. The spinning icon took forever. Then, a result flashed up, not a name, but a location triangulation based on recent activity. My blood turned to ice. The map showed clusters near Storrel, near the docks, and one chillingly familiar location, the tech firm where my sister Maya worked. Maya, my brilliant, ambitious little sister, we'd been close, or so I thought. She'd even introduced me to Alex years ago. The world tilted no, it couldn't be. Was Maya's company the target of the espionage? Were they stealing proprietary tech? Or was Maya involved? The betrayal deepened, widening into an abyss I couldn't fathom. My partner, my oldest friend, and now, possibly, my sister. The primary they wanted delivered. Could it be something stolen from her? The burner phone buzzed again, jolting me. A new message. Maya confirmed access. Package ready for transfer tonight. No mistakes. The confirmation slammed into me like a physical blow. Maya was involved. Not just involved, she had access. She was facilitating this. My own sister. The pieces clicked with horrifying clarity. Alex's sudden closeness to Jamie, his connection to my sister. It wasn't coincidence. It was orchestrated. Jamie hadn't just betrayed my trust. When it infiltrated my entire life, using my friendships, my family, as tools for their dangerous game. The walls weren't just closing in, they were crushing me. Midnight loomed. The warehouse waited. I had a burner phone demanding I deliver the primary. A partner sleeping beside me who was a criminal operative, a best friend who was their accomplice, and a sister who was seemingly the key to their target. The initial heartbreak over suspected cheating felt like a lifetime ago. This was a web of lies, theft, and betrayal so vast it threatened to destroy everything and everyone I knew, and I was standing at the center, holding a phone buzzing with instructions, knowing that whatever I did next, show up, run, confront Maya, expose them all, could ignite a catastrophe. The simple question of infidelity had vanished. Now, it was about survival, about untangling a conspiracy that reached into my own blood, and deciding who, if anyone, I could trust before midnight plunged me into the darkest hour of my life. Midnight at the docks was a suffocating blanket of fog and silence. Every shadow seemed to writhe. I stood near a rusted shipping container, the cold metal biting through my jacket, the stolen burner phone like ice in my hand. I hadn't brought the primary. Bringing one of those illegal interceptors felt like handing them a loaded gun. Instead, I carried nothing but raw terror and a desperate half-formed plan. Witness, identify, survive, maybe record something, anything I could take to the authorities without implicating myself. For the headlights cut through the fog, blinding me. A nondescript van rolled to a stop near Dock B. Two figures emerged, silhouettes against the glare. My breath hitched. Jamie and Alex, seeing them together, moving with a chilling, coordinated efficiency, erased any last shred of denial. This was real. This was happening. Jamie wasn't just cheating. They were a criminal. Alex wasn't just a betrayer. He was an accomplice. And Maya, my stomach churned. Where was she? Was she watching? Was she in that van? They scanned the area, flashlights cutting beams through the mist. I pressed deeper into the shadows behind the container, heart hammering against my ribs. Don't see me. Please don't see me. Jamie pulled out a phone, another burner, and typed. Instantly, the burner in my pocket vibrated silently. A new message. Where is the primary? Location compromised. Abort. Panic surged. They knew something was wrong. Had they spotted me, or was it just my absence with the device? Before I could even process Alex's voice, low and urgent, cut through the damp air. Something's off. Let's clear out now. They moved fast, heading back towards the van. This was it. They were getting away. All of it. The lies, the betrayal, the potential espionage against Maya's company vanishing into the fog, driven by a fury that momentarily overrode the fear. I did the only thing I could think of. I stepped out from the shadows, directly into the beam of their retreating flashlight. Jamie. My voice sounded raw, alien in the heavy silence. They froze, whirling around. Jamie's face, illuminated in the harsh light, was a mask of shock that quickly hardened into something cold and unrecognizable. Alex cursed, reaching instinctively towards his waistband. The air crackled with violence. Jamie spat, taking a step forward. What the hell are you doing here? The casual affection, the practiced lies, were completely gone. This was the real person behind the mask, cold, dangerous. Before I could answer, before Alex could draw whatever weapon he had, blinding white lights erupted from all sides. The roar of engines filled the night as unmarked SUVs screeched to a halt, blocking the van. Figures in tactical gear poured out, shouting commands. FBI, hands in the air, down on the ground. Relief, so potent it made my knees weak, warred with utter confusion. The FBI. How Jamie and Alex reacted instantly, diving for cover behind the van, reaching for weapons. Shouts, the terrifying sound of safeties clicking off, filled the air. Chaos erupted. I dropped to the cold concrete, covering my head, the world dissolving into noise and flashing lights. Gunshots cracked, sharp, terrifying reports. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for impact. Silence fell, sudden and heavy. Cautious voices replaced the shouts. Clear suspects contained. Hands gently pulled me up. An agent, face stern but not unkind, guided me towards one of the SUVs. "You're safe now. We need to get you out of here." As they led me away, I caught a glimpse past the agents. Jamie and Alex were on the ground, handcuffed, being hauled to their feet. Jamie's eyes locked onto mine across the distance. Not anger, not even hatred. Just a terrifying, empty calculation. Then they were shoved into a vehicle. At the secure FBI field office hours later, wrapped in a scratchy blanket, the numbness started to fade, replaced by 1,000 questions. An agent sat across from me, her expression serious but calm. "You took a huge risk going there alone," she said. "But your information was crucial. We've been building a case against Alex Petrovich for months. International industrial espionage, stealing next-gen defense tech from your sister's company, Omnicorp." "Alex," I whispered. "But Jamie, my partner." "Jamie Carter," the agent nodded. "Petrovich's primary inside asset. Recruited years ago. Their entire relationship with you." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Was part of the cover. A way to get close to your sister Maya, who was a lead engineer on the project they were targeting." The confirmation was a fresh wound. Our entire life, a lie crafted for theft. The cheating I'd suspected was the least of it. "And Maya," my voice cracked. The messages said she confirmed access. The agent almost smiled, a small, tight curve of her lips. "Ah, that. Maya Omnicorp Security flagged the unusual data access requests weeks ago. She suspected an inside leak but had no idea it was tied to her personal life. When we approached her, she agreed to help us run a capture operation. Her confirmation was bait, fed directly to Petrovich and Carter through a monitored channel we set up. She's been working with us undercover since before you even found that." The twist hit me like a physical blow. Maya, my little sister, not a traitor, an ally. The person I'd feared was complicit had been risking her own safety to bring them down. The relief was so profound it brought tears I couldn't hold back. She hadn't betrayed me. She'd been trying to protect her work, her family, all along. Jamie and Alex were in custody, facing serious federal charges. The storage unit was raided, the illegal tech seized. The immediate danger was over. Yet, sitting in that sterile room, the weight of it all settled like lead. The person I loved never existed. It was a character played by a criminal. The betrayal wasn't just of my heart, it was a violation of my entire reality. The spyware, the desperate act that started it all, felt like both my salvation and a burden I'd carry forever. I was safe, Maya was safe. The bad guys were caught, but the life I knew was obliterated, the trust shattered, and as the agent asked if I wanted to see Maya, waiting anxiously in the next room, I realized the hardest part wasn't the espionage, the guns, or the arrest. The hardest part was just beginning, learning how to live in the wreckage of a lie that went so much deeper than I ever could have imagined, and finding out who I was when the facade finally crumbled away. The truth was out, but the scars, those would take a lifetime to heal. Seeing Maya burst into the interview room erased the last of the numbness. She looked exhausted, eyes red-rimmed but blazing with fierce relief. No words, just a crushing hug that felt like the only real thing left in the world. "You scared me to death," she choked out, pulling back to grip my shoulders. "When they told me you were at the docks, when I realized how deep Jamie had pulled you in." Her voice broke, learning that Jamie's entire relationship with me was a calculated move to access her work at Omnicorp. The defense project she'd poured her life into had devastated her. The guilt she felt, even though it wasn't her fault, was written all over her face. The FBI agent filled in the final blanks. Alex Petrovich was a known operative for a foreign tech consortium. Jamie Carter wasn't just some pawn. They'd been groomed and recruited years before we even met. Their entire persona, the affection, the shared dreams, the cozy domesticity, was meticulously crafted cover. My gut feeling about cheating that was likely allowed, maybe even encouraged, to keep me distracted, questioning the wrong things. The ultimate betrayal wasn't a lover's infidelity. It was being used as living camouflage for espionage. The storage unit's contents were just one piece, a distribution hub for stolen schematics and prototypes siphoned from Omnicorp, with Maya unwittingly providing access points, legally. Things were messy but leaning in my favor. The spyware was a huge problem, a clear violation, but the FBI, focused on the bigger espionage picture and Maya's cooperation, seemed inclined to view it as the desperate act that ultimately exposed a major operation. My testimony, the burner phone, the photos of the docks and storage unit, all gathered in a panicked daze became crucial evidence. Jamie and Alex faced decades in prison. The primary device, a prototype jammer worth millions on the black market. My refusal to bring it likely triggered their panic, and the FBI's perfectly timed takedown. Leaving the FBI office as dawn painted the sky felt like stepping onto a different planet. My apartment, filled with Jamie's things, felt toxic. Maya wouldn't hear of me being alone. "You're staying with me," she stated, brooking no argument. Sitting in her quiet living room later, sipping terrible tea, the enormity finally crashed over me. The life I knew was gone, not just the relationship, but the fundamental trust in my own judgment. The spyware guilt lingered a dark corner I'd have to confront. Healing wouldn't be quick or easy. Therapy wasn't optional, it was essential. But watching the sunrise with Maya silently beside me, her hand steady on mine, I felt a fragile anchor. The web of deceit was torn apart. The danger was over. The truth, however painful, was finally out. The journey from suspecting a cheating heart to uncovering a criminal conspiracy had nearly destroyed me, but it hadn't broken me completely. The scars were deep, the trust shattered, but the path forward, though long, was mine to walk, not as a victim defined by betrayal, but as someone who'd stared into a terrifying abyss and somehow found their way back into the light. The takeaway wasn't just about the lies we uncover, but the resilience we discover when everything we believed in crumbles. It was over. Now, the real work of rebuilding began.